evening, everybody. Welcome to our Act 34 hearing for the Soul Finestone Elementary School. My name is Andy Block, President of the Board of School Directors. I would like to make some introductions first. My fellow board members, Marianne McKee, Ed Salmon, Superintendent Dr. Robert Frazier. Additionally, we've got Doug Taylor, Director of Special Services and Operations. Our solicitor, Mr. Robert Cox. Mr. Reef Bazell of Dewey Engineering, David Schrader of the Schrader Group, and Zach Willard, Director of PFM. Did I miss anybody? So as everybody knows, the district maintains its facilities to support the goal of our educational plan. The project vision and plan is a result of the input and engagement of various stakeholders across the entire district-wide planning committee. The plan approved by the board was based on the administrative team's recommendations. As everybody knows, Soul Finestone is too large and too remote to be relocated to the former Ridgeboro Middle School as we do the construction. Therefore, this project is planned as a phased renovation, and the additions project was beginning on site. On April 25th, 2019, the board approved the Soul Finestone Elementary School renovation and additions project. So with that, I'm turning it over to Mr. Cox.
Good evening, everybody. This is an Act 34 hearing as required by Section 701.1 of the Public School Code of 1949. The board adopted a resolution on December 19, 2019, setting this hearing as required by law at this date and time in this room. The school district advertised the public hearing on January 3rd, 2020. Also as required by the statute, the description of the project has been available at the district. And after this presentation, the team will take questions and statements from the public will be heard. And I'll be followed by Mr. Doug Taylor, Director of Operational Services. Thank you, Rob.
Good evening. So a little bit of a project history and the need for the project. Schrader Group Architecture was engaged to perform a district-wide study quite some time ago, prepared a lot of information and assisted us in determining the direction that we're heading tonight. So the study did present a need for the construction and renovations of the Soul Finestone Elementary School. As you're likely aware if you've been following the projects, that also included the Wrightstown Elementary School, the current renovations to Rolling Hills, the future Hillcrest and Richboro Elementary renovations, and the Council Rock Star Center at the former Richboro Middle School site. And the study was based on projections that were prepared by the Cropper Group. So the admin developed a long-term plan for capacity and efficiency of all the schools and properties owned by Council Rock. During the process, it was determined that Soul Finestone was in such a condition that it needed full renovations and some expansion, primarily to replace the displaced spaces that are being renovated that were substandard in size. The net gain will be about 5 additional classrooms, which David will review with you shortly. The final recommendations were made by the district, and Schrader Group Architecture, along with Dewey Engineering, were hired to develop the plans and implement the additions and renovations to the Soul Finestone Elementary School. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Arif Fazil.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor. So I'm going to cover options considered, and essentially at Soul Finestone there were 3 primary options. One was simply a variation. The first one was the one that Mr. Taylor mentioned, which was essentially to renovate the existing building and add program space to accommodate the educational needs as well as the enrollment requirements of the school. We went through an exercise of looking at that, and that was essentially option A, and that was a total of $30 million as a total project cost. We also looked at a variation of that in terms of modifying the site and the various traffic movements and parking lots, and ultimately that was adding approximately $1.2 million. That was a $31.2 million project, and it was determined that the value of that wasn't necessarily commensurate with what benefits the district was gaining. We also looked at, as this was noted, is going to be a phased project. We looked at building a new school on the site and looked at that option also. The new school wound up being a little bit larger than the existing building after looking at the various program needs, and unfortunately that resulted in a cost closer to $47 million. It was actually $46.7 million. So those were the three options looked at by the district. On this next slide is a summary of the three options that were looked at. Again, essentially option A, which is the option we're pursuing at this point, option B with some slight modifications to the site, and then option C was the new facility on the site. After looking at it, option A was chosen because the district, it provided the opportunity to fit the design with the educational programming of the school, and was obviously the most cost-effective solution, still taking care of all of the infrastructure needs and the additional space needs also that were required, as well as complying with current code from an ADA and sprinkler and everything else standpoint. So option A was selected, and that's the option that is being implemented for this project. With that, I'll turn it over to David Schrader.
Okay, thank you, Arif. So I'll be providing a project description for the Old Finestone Elementary School project. So essentially, we're adding approximately 22,000 square feet to the building. The additions are in several areas. However, the primary one is a two-story classroom addition, and that is added to the existing just under 75,000 square foot building. The new construction will obviously include all new systems. The renovation portion of the building will be renovated completely, all new finishes, all new envelope to the building, and complete building system replacement. The building is designed for this specific educational program, and the building will be adaptable for education as well as those local community uses that any of the elementary schools in the district see. The classrooms are all designed to be located in close proximity to each other, and the goal will be to make learning integrated, flexible, rigorous, and relevant. The first image is the site plan, and just for orientation's sake, to the left is actually north. So the bottom of the drawing is Eagle Road, and Eagle Road actually runs north to south, but in this drawing it's going from left to right. The right-hand side of the drawing is where the Upper Makefield Township building is. The left-hand side and the top of the drawing are all residential. So that's the neighboring community around the facility. The driveway and the parking area in the front will remain essentially as they are shown here. So those are existing loops as they stand. However, we will be separating the cars from the buses by allowing just the car drop-off to use that driveway loop. There will be some reduction in overall parking on the left-hand side, and we're going to be taking that from a double-loaded driveway area to a single-loaded driveway area. And what you see on the right-hand side of the drawing, the larger dark area is the bus parking zone, and then the parking area to the right is going to be the staff and teacher parking area. So the goal will be to separate the car and bus traffic from Eagle Road by using the Eagle Road entry that you see to the left for the parent entry and exit, and the bus driveway on the right-hand side. One more piece of information is that currently there is an exit from the driveway areas located to the far left of the site. We're eliminating that driveway and going to keep it just as an emergency access road. The intent there is to improve the sight distances along Eagle Road so that we have less challenges with traffic. A little bit more at the top of the drawing, there's some orange and some pathways shown. Those are the area where we're moving the playground zone. The white is the existing building, And there's a darker area of the white to the upper right-hand corner that is the new addition portion, and I'll try to describe how the building works from that point forward here. One last thing about the site. The total proposed parking spaces will be 171 spaces, and when you take into account event parking that can use the bus loading area, we'll be allowing up to 231 parking spaces on the site. So this is the first floor plan, and this is the floor plan that you would enter at. The drawing is rotated 90 degrees from the site plan. So the left-hand side are the entry points. The top part is the visitor and parent drop-off area. And the bottom area in gray is the bus drop-off area where the students can enter from a second entry. The green represents both the cafeteria, the stage, and a new kitchen area. So we'll actually be adding kitchen area to the building. The darker blue halfway up is the current administrative entry. That will stay as it stands. And the orange area is the current library and some associated spaces. We will be replacing the roof and roof structure in those areas. The balance of the blue areas that run from left to right on the page on the top and the middle are all classrooms, and in some cases we are removing walls and moving walls to make the classrooms more appropriately sized. The orange that connects those two parallel classroom wings is the gymnasium, which we will be renovating as well. The bottom portion, all in blue, is a two-story classroom wing. The cross-hatched area is the new construction portion. And so we'll be doing a little bit of shifting in the existing area to allow some new mechanical space, and on the upper level we'll be connecting from the top to the bottom with some exterior or interior learning spaces and what we call a large group learning stair. So this is the upper floor plan, or the entry floor plan, and as the grade drops off the side, this is the lower floor plan. And again, the hatched area is the new construction portion, and we'll be taking the existing classroom wing, modifying it to allow for our new mechanical spaces, some additional classrooms, some small group instruction spaces, and the new bathrooms that go in the middle of that. Some of the views of how this building will look when it's complete. On the left, you can vaguely see the library area and the existing cafeteria. Then you see the new kitchen about halfway across the page. Directly in front of the view is the new bus entry area with a new ADA ramp. And then over to the right in the image is the new two-story classroom wing. This is just a closer view of how the bus entry area works, along with the ADA ramps. And this image represents the two-story classroom wing from the playing fields and playground area outside. Just a couple of views of the interior. This is a view of the second floor classroom areas with the learning stair structure. A view back to the outdoors looking towards the Upper Makefield Township building with the learning stair and some of the small group instruction space that will be available there. These images show the new classrooms, and this is a view towards the teaching wall with some of the cabinetry and casework. And if you were to turn yourself a little bit to the left, you see cabinetry and casework and another view of those classroom wings. And just one last point is all of the existing classrooms will be renovated to look just like the new classrooms, so the entire building will look like a new structure within. I'm going to hand it over to Mr. Bazil for the estimated project costs.
Thank you, David. So the estimated project cost, just a couple of footnotes before we get into that. The project was submitted for PD under Plan Con A and B approval. However, the Plan Con is under moratorium, so the project is not has not been accepted under the Plan Con rules at this time. The project has also been submitted to the township for the necessary approvals, and those are in good progress at this time and will meet the project schedule. The project has gone through a lot of reviews with the design team, and many of the systems and options that are being implemented in the project are based on the best value to the district. The timelines are to bid the project in public bid competitively with the multi-prime approach that's required in April of 2020, with a construction start in July of 2020, and then due to the phased project, it will be complete in the fall of 2023. Those are the footnotes, and as I said, in order to comply with Act 34, we did go through the PlanCon documents. In this case, we're showing you PlanCon D forms, but essentially what this shows on DO3, which includes all of the project costs, including the financing, it shows you the total project cost, and I'll summarize those in a minute. And then we did go through the Act 34 requirements of the PlanCon forms as well to establish the Act 34 maximum building construction cost, and I'll summarize that cost in a minute as I do on this slide. So as adopted by the Board of School Directors, the maximum project cost is $34,207,210, and the maximum building construction cost is $5,881,083. The project will also be bid with a number of alternate bids that are listed there, everything from some of the clear story windows to floor finish alternates to some canopies being considered, as well as sod, and even some value engineering alternates like engineered fill and other alternates that we are still currently developing as a team. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Willard to talk about the budget.
Thank you. So my name is Zach Williard with Public Financial Management. We're the district's independent financial advisor. And as the independent financial advisor, it's our job to analyze the different financing alternatives available to the district to fund the project. We analyzed cash or short-term loan, a general obligation bond issue, a local authority bond issue, and a financing through the State Public School Building Authority. After determining that cash was not an option, we looked at then a general obligation bond issue and the authority and the State Public School Building Authority issues. Due to additional costs associated with both the local authority and state pub, it was determined that the best route for financing this project will be a general obligation bond issue. The district likely will not have to use bond insurance due to the high AA credit rating that they have, so that will help to reduce the cost of the project. The district is also analyzing using a wraparound debt service structure, which will take advantage of a drop-off in the old debt service and help to minimize the millage impact on the project. Both of these will help lower the cost of the financing. The school district does not anticipate receiving any reimbursement from the state due to the PlanCon moratorium, so all of these numbers that we've included assume no state reimbursement. As far as indirect costs go, it is reasonable to assume that there will be a needed cost of additional $45,200 based on additional custodial supplies, fuel and utilities, maintenance and repairs, and additional insurance premiums. Assuming that $45,200 with the millage, current millage equivalent of $1,257,704, it's estimated that the indirect costs will have a millage cost of approximately 0.04 mils annually. Now, due to the existing drop-offs in the debt service and how the district has funded its debt service budget in the past, we do expect no additional increase in mills due to the borrowings shown in tables 1 and 2. But again, as we stated on the last page, we do expect an indirect cost increase of 0.04 mils for the project. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Mr. Block.
Thank you, gentlemen. And that ends our formal presentation. With that, we'll move to public comment. I won't go through the formalities since there's none asked in the room other than ask for, is there any public comment? Hearing none, as long as it's okay with